You know, it's funny because I did not know that Jinzaku posted this tweet or retweeted this article from 3 days ago until now. So this is why I want to do this video, so we can find out some more updates on the upcoming Disney Plus reboot. So this is basically about what we know so far. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers took the world by storm when it premiered in 1983, launching a franchise that managed to last for over 30 years, spawning multiple television shows and efforts to cash in on that success. But efforts to revitalize the franchise haven't been the success that Power Rangers fans would expect. 2017's Power Rangers movie attempted to put a modern spin on that concept, but it didn't take off. Jonathan and Twisto Karate Kid planned out a truly epic expansion of the franchise until Netflix pumped the brakes on that project. But now Disney Plus is aiming to give the franchise a new spin with a series developed by Jonathan E. Steinberg and Dan Schwartz. If this series is a success, it could also mean that Disney has another major franchise on its hands. Disney has almost always struggled to attract one market of viewers, young males, acquiring Marvel and Lucasfilm, particularly the Star Wars and Indiana Jones franchise, seemed to solve that problem. But in recent years, the franchise that should have been surefire hits have stumbled. Thunderbolts, despite receiving some of the best reviews of any Marvel Studios movie, underperformed in the box office. Lucasfilm has been struggling to figure out how to bring Star Wars back to the big screen following the unfavorable reception to Star Wars episode Rise of Skywalker. Doing the Power Rangers series could be a great way to hook that demographic, especially since the entire concept of the Power Rangers boils down to teenagers with superpowers. It also doesn't hurt that Jonathan E. Steinberg and Dan Schwartz have delivered another major hit for Disney Plus in the form of Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Like Power Rangers, it features a young superhero and a titular Percy Jackson who learns to master his demon god powers and deal with machination of the gods. Percy Jackson and the Olympians won over hardcore fans and has been renewed for 2 more seasons, which bodes well for Steinberg and Schwartz take on the Power Rangers. If Steinberg and Schwartz want to bring an entirely new take on the Power Rangers, they have the perfect roadmap in the form of Boom Studios' Power Ranger comics. These comics have managed to expand upon the Power Rangers lore in surprising ways, while also presenting their original takes on the entire Power Rangers concept. Power Rangers Prime by Melissa Flores and Michael YG presents a world where the Power Rangers are not only wanted fugitives, but a group of teenagers who don't have the bond of previous Ranger teams. On top of that, they get their powers from arch nemesis Rita Repulsa, another comic storyline, Beyond the Grid by whoever, teleported a random group of Rangers into the furthest reaches of the universe where they learn the harmlessness of power of the Solo Rangers. And I can tell you 100% I am not the biggest fan of that at all, because everything about that series just felt kind of off. Though I love the costumes, but I don't love the story at all. Utilizing the Solo Rangers for the new Disney Plus series won't just give Steinberg and Schwartz a fresh slate, but it could be a great comic road trip story, similar to how the first season of Percy Jackson and the Olympians was structured. There's no major storyline from the comics that is worthy of being put on the big screen. Shattered Grid by Kyle Higgins and Daniel D. I can't pronounce his last name. In Shattered Grid, Lord Dragon, an evil alternate version of Tommy Oliver, the Green Ranger, plans to gain ultimate power by accessing the Morphin Grid and attacking every Power Ranger team across history. That's a concept that's begging to be brought to the big screen. as it could match Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame in terms of sheer scale and potential nostalgia, especially if it managed to bring back certain Ranger actors. While there are no plans to bring the Power Rangers back to the silver screen, it wouldn't be surprising if the new show does build up to the theatrical story. Power Ranger fans might remember that the new series isn't the first time Disney has been involved with the franchise. Back in 2001, Disney wound up buying the rights to Power Rangers, which led to some of the strongest entries in Rangers history. Probably one of the most iconic series in the Disney era was Power Rangers Dino Thunder. Not only did Dino Thunder feel like a throwback to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but it even brought back the GOAT, Tommy himself, rest in peace to Jason David Frank, serving as mentor and leader, in my opinion, to a new generation. More importantly, Dino Thunder Rangers felt like actual teenagers as they dealt with issues that including dating and homework in addition to saving the world. Power Rangers Dino Thunder also had one of the series' most iconic antagonists and reptilian mascot, who turned out to be far more complicated than you expected. While plans for a new Power Rangers series aren't set in stone, there's plenty of inspiration to draw from and plenty of promises when it comes to a new franchise. I feel like they could do two separate things with this series that is begging to be done. We'll do something for the young male demographic to draw in those younger viewers that will want the action figures that will definitely be made to play with. And two, they can have a separate series that caters to more mature audience that has grown up with the series and would like to have more depth and more deeper stories to sink on. Yeah, I agree, because I feel like, to me, you know, as adults now, looking back on the shows that we grew up watching, even though it's made and targeted towards kids, but I feel like the stories were a bit darker and mature. Like, look at Time Force, for example. Like, that, you know, that show is more mature, more serialized, and more darker than any other Power Ranger series that we grew up in the 90s with. You know, In Space was dark, but it was also a bit cheesy at the same time. I mean, it is a kid's show, so why not? I kind of agree with this comment right here. Or they can absolutely destroy it like they seem to be doing to anything they stick with their hands to nowadays. I don't agree with that. It sounds like you don't want this series to continue. Just say that. It has the potential, it just comes down to money, to be honest. It lasted so long because most of the shows was just a clip show from the Japanese version. But if done right, Power Rangers could definitely become a major franchise, both in small and big screen, and I agree with that 100%. If done right, then we could be back to where we were 30 something years ago. MPR had so much better acting, today's acting, like Hannah Montana bad. I mean, that's Saban's fault, because it's not the actor's fault for how the show was. You know, it was aimed towards kids and everything, but it is nostalgia. But Amy Jo Johnson is the only actress that really took her role very seriously. But like I said, blame Cheryl Saban and blame Saban himself for how bad, you know, most Neil Saban seasons were when it came to the acting. So yeah, go back and rewatch. The acting wasn't good. Unless you're talking about the Neo Saban era, then yeah. Alright, so that was pretty much summoning what everybody knows so far about the upcoming Disney Plus series. For the most part, I am still excited for what's to come for Disney Plus. You know, and when you think about it, I really do believe that whatever adaptation they take inspiration from, whether it's from Sentai or the Boom Studio Comics, which I prefer for them to take a little bit of both the Sentai and Boom Studios and make it into its original form. but make it more mature and dark, but not too gritty. And the writing has to be good, and the martial arts, you know, it needs to be better than it was 30 years ago. You know, if done right, then Power Rangers at some point will be back to its glory days. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Jonathan Ian Steinberg and Dan Schwartz, I think they might be the perfect candidate to bring Power Rangers back to life. You know, and I support this. I'm here for it still. So what are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm out of here.